And good evening and welcome to another edition of Pittsburgh Sports Talk. But the only difference is we're not on Block Talk Radio anymore. We're on social media platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter platforms. And of course, my co-host, Smokin Jim Frazier. Smokin Jim, welcome to the program.
Hey, thanks, Ralph. Can't wait for this one, buddy.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And not only do you get to see us, you get to have Smokin Jim and I twice a week now. We're on Tuesdays on our radio show on Beaver County Radio. And now we're here Wednesday night with Pittsburgh Sports Talk, 8:30 p.m. start time. Call your friend, call your cousin, call somebody, get them here on this program. And you can also comment in the comment section as well. It's wide open. So we would be welcome to hear from you tonight. We have plenty to talk about. A lot of stuff going on in Pittsburgh sports. Steelers signing Russell Wilson and a whole lot more. Mason Rudolph going elsewhere. Oh, it's big time. But we have a special guest going to join us for about 15, 20 minutes here tonight, Leo Haggerty. And Leo, welcome to the program.
Hey, Ralph, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
You're welcome, Leo. It's great, always great to have you on board here. As always, Smokin Jim, say hello to Leo.
What's up, my man, Leo?
Smokin Jim, a legend in your own mind. I love it.
All right, Leo. The reason I'm having you on tonight is not only the signing of Baker Mayfield with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I also understand you brought back the Bucs brought back Jordan Whitehead, which I was hoping the Steelers would take, being that he's a local guy. But that obviously didn't happen. There were some dreams here about him coming here, but obviously the dreams didn't come true. What's your thoughts on this tonight? This re-signing of Jordan Whitehead.
Well, I was amazed they let him get away, and again, that's the problem with these cap casualties, Ralph. You know, and Mike Williams is a perfect example out in San Diego. Well, there he is. He's going to make $28 million, and he can only play 3 games. Now, again, players don't want to be injured. It happens. But when the league year started today, Chargers needed to be under the cap, or they had to pay a penalty. So they come. Don't be surprised if they don't try to re-sign Mike Williams at a lower rate or at a different, contract situation. But you start to see a lot of movement, as I like to say, during the legal tampering period, the 3 days before the league allows the signing of free agents.
Absolutely. Smokin Jim, you could chime in here. What's your thoughts on Jordan Whitehead going back to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
Well, I think the most important thing, and congratulations to Jordan Whitehead, but the big thing is they was able to get Evans under contract, and that's going to be a big help for Baker Mayfield. Now you got the 1-2 punch at quarterback and wide receiver. And so I was proud of Tampa Bay for getting both of those contracts under the salary cap.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Leo, I know Baker Mayfield has been re-signed to Smokin Jim's, buddy there. He likes Baker Mayfield as well. But I wanted to let everyone know tonight that Joe Flacco was signed by the Colts today. That just happened about a few hours ago. Joe Flacco signed by the Colts. Of course, he's going to take over backup for Gardner Minshew. So, but anyway, hang on a minute here. Oh, wait a second. Okay. Give me 1 second here. I have to, I kind of laid an egg a little bit here tonight, but I didn't hear back from somebody. So here we are. All right. I got him here. Hold on 1 second. Sorry about that, guys. I kind of laid an egg here a little bit tonight, but I got it handled. So there we go. All right. We're going to be joined by Noah House real soon here. I forgot that I had asked him to come on the show tonight, but he, I had, hang on a minute. Hold on. Let me respond to him here. He's on the comments section here.
Yeah, tell him I'll jump off at 8:45 and he can jump on. How's that?
Yeah, that's fine. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about this, guys. Right in the middle of the show here, you know. Oh, he's on now. There we go. I got him. All right, but that's okay. We'll have him come on as well. All right, Noah House. Thanks for being on here. I know you talk Pitt and Pitt football and basketball. How long can you stay with us, Noah?
I could stick around for like 10, 20 minutes if that works
All
for
right,
you.
good. Yeah, that's fine because I got Leo Haggerty on with me from Amped Up Sports, and he's also part of the Sports Web with Peter Blake. And
Oh, nice.
we just had Leo come on talk with us about Tampa Bay Bucks football and some other things. So just hang with us here, and if you want to chime in, you're welcome as well. So
Well,
Sounds good.
let me ask Noah a question real quick. Hey, the defensive lineman from Pitt really came on the last part of the season for the Bucks. Tell us a little bit about him.
Kalijah Cansey, I mean, he's a product of Charlie Partridge, one of the best defensive lines in college or line coaches in college football over the last, I don't know, 10 years or so. He's been developing guys that win a lot of awards at the collegiate level. Kalijah's the crown jewel of his mentees, a guy who dominated at Pitt, the 2022 Defensive Player of the Year. Smart kid, works really hard. Kind of physically disadvantaged. When you think of defensive lineman, you think of someone with a little bit more size than what he has, but he's so fundamentally sound. He's just very, very skilled. He's quick off the ball. He's got a multitude of moves that can beat guys on the inside. That can just overpower them because he wins with leverage. And I think there's a lot of good things to come with him. I think injuries kind of led to his slow start at the beginning of the year. But once he got healthy, I mean, you saw what happened there. And I mean, that's a franchise that I feel like the Bucks always have a pretty good nose tackle. So I feel like
signed Jordan Whitehead today, Noah.
Yeah,
and then also they have Savassier Dennis down there as well.
Yeah, they got 3 Pitt guys that'll be playing on defense for them next year. So
yes, indeed.
And Cansey's probably the best of the bunch.
Oh yeah,
he really showed out at the end of the season. I'll tell you what, I'm amazed at not just his speed, but how he uses his speed to incorporate into his power.
Yeah.
Because if you don't get on him right away and he comes off that edge, he will beat you.
Yeah.
So he forces the tackle to lean out, and the tackle can't anchor. And then he does a great job of crossing over with his feet. You're right. Fundamentally, really fundamentally sound football player.
If you want to watch if you want an example of how good he was in college, watch him against Virginia in 2022. I think he had 4 sacks in that game. He probably could have had 10 if they held on the ball for another second. They just could not block him that day. And I feel bad for the poor linemen in Charlottesville who were tasked with going up against this guy because they were just outclassed.
Yeah, well, we hijacked the show, so let's send it back to Ralph.
Yeah.
Ralph, you got it now.
Okay. All right, we're talking NFL free agency. Noah, you can chime in anytime you want. Smokin' Jim, chime in as well. We were just talking about Joe Flacco is now with the Indianapolis Colts. He's taken over Gardner Minshew's job, who ended up going elsewhere as well. So some of the moves that were made a little bit today, Leo, there were a few of them that were made today as well. Mason Rudolph to the Titans, $3.6 million 2-year contract. We all saw this coming, guys. Mason Rudolph leaving the Steelers because the Steelers didn't seem to have any interest in him as soon as they were able to get Russell Wilson in the building. We'll start with you, Smokin' Jim. Mason Rudolph to the Titans. We all saw this coming, I think, right?
Yeah, I was a little surprised. The last 4 games, as well as Mason Rudolph played, his age to maturity. Former third round draft pick, the 6'5" with a nice arm. I thought that the Pittsburgh Steelers would move in his direction, but Coach Tomlin made it very clear at the end of the season he wasn't interested in Mason Rudolph. So I'm happy for him. He's behind a outstanding young quarterback in Tennessee, but as a backup quarterback, you're only one play away from seeing some significant play time.
Oh, absolutely. Noah, what's your thoughts on this Mason Rudolph going to the Titans?
Good for him. I mean, this is a guy who I think showed that he should be way higher than 3rd on the depth chart, right, for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Right. He's a guy that I mean, I think he was the best of the 3 quarterbacks they had last year, production-wise and everything. And the offense, you could throw out whatever number you would want to tell me that Kenny Pickett's better. But if you actually watch the games, I mean, the offense just moved the football so much easier. And
Oh, absolutely.
he's a guy that I hope gets a legitimate chance. I mean, Levis is talented in Tennessee, and they used a 2nd-round pick on him, so they're definitely going to give him the benefit of the doubt. But I want to see Mason do well. He got a raw deal here. He came into Pittsburgh with a veteran quarterback that had no interest in him being around and wasn't probably the best teammate to him. And he had one chance to earn a starting spot and wasn't great, but as we learned, I mean, there was never that big of a difference between him and the other guys on the roster, and he provided a useful service to his team in the last month of the season, and I'm rooting for him.
Absolutely. Leo, what's your thoughts on Mason Rudolph?
Well, he got him to the playoffs. I mean,
Yes.
no one saw that coming
Absolutely.
with the Steelers in early November.
No, I didn't see it at all.
Yeah,
I mean,
he
I
got-
was blinded by it. I said, there is no way this team's going to playoffs this year. We're looking at another 9-8 season. And, so.
And he gets them in. I'll tell you what that does in Tennessee, though.
What's that?
Look for Ryan Tannehill to maybe end up with the Vikings. There's going to be some movement still in this quarterback roulette thing.
Oh,
because when we get to April, Ralph, and we start talking about the draft, there's going to be some really good quarterbacks mid to late first round that people are going to have to take a really long, hard look at and say,
this is
well,
a big
in
draft
2
for
years,
quarterbacks.
in 2 years, this guy may be the guy, because it doesn't look like there's a whole lot coming out in the next year or two in college. Everything
Yes,
seems to be
exactly.
coming out.
Hey, Leo.
Yes, sir.
Leo, were you surprised that the Cleveland Browns chose Jameis Winston over Joe Flacco?
Yeah, there you go. That's a good question there.
Age, that's the biggest thing. And again, it's Deshaun Watson's job to win or lose, whatever. I can tell you by coach speak that when they say there's competition at every position, I can tell you for a fact that in New England, there was no competition when Tom Brady was there. When Roethlisberger was in Pittsburgh, but the coach doesn't want competition at quarterback. They want to go into training camp with their guy, set in place and say, okay, there's the locker room. It's yours. Have at it. The worst thing you can have is competition at quarterback. That's why I was amazed in Tampa, because they said it was Trask and Mayfield, and we got word, and I said, look, this is Baker Mayfield's job. You're not going to sign a guy and not say, okay, he's the starter. That's like in Pittsburgh. Russell Wilson's the starter.
Yeah.
Now it's a matter
absolutely.
of Pickett has to beat him out, because why are you bringing in a guy who has a ring? We're gonna find out if Kenny Pickett gets motivated real quick, because if he doesn't, he'll be looking for employment somewhere else.
Absolutely. All right, Leo, I'm going to let you go because I know you got to get on with Peter at 9 o'clock. But I want to thank you for being part of the program, just for your brief little time. And I'll talk with you Friday and Saturday. So,
Absolutely. Hey, Noah, good to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you too.
Yeah,
all right, take care, guys.
Leo's my man from Amped Up Sports. He covers the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and he covers all Tampa sports and some other sports all around the country, actually. He's the one that gets me some guests on, Noah, for the NFL teams as well. Noah, thank you for being part of the program today. Pitt plays Wake Forest tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. I know it's the best. What do they call it? The worst of all evils. What is it? The Wake Forest, or no, we could have had Notre Dame. Notre Dame really didn't do that well this year, I don't think.
No, they were bad.
Would you have rather us play them than Wake Forest?
No, I think this is what Pitt wants. It's a tough game, but Pitt came to DC this week with work to do. It needs to win a couple of games to really make sure it can get into the NCAA tournament. And it's on the bubble right now, and so is Wake Forest. The loser of this game is not going to March Madness. The winner has a much better chance. than
I
it
see.
currently does right now. So it's not it's not winning you're in, but it's loser leaves town. And
Loser leaves town, right?
right.
Yeah.
And it's a nice little addition to Pitt's resume. It's another quad one win this late in the season. And it's a trip to the semifinals in the ACC tournament. When you're just 2 wins away from winning the whole league. So yeah, I think that it's a big game. It's a challenge. Obviously, the easier victory would have been against Notre Dame, but easy wins, they don't get you to March Madness, Ralph. You got
Right.
to win the hard ones.
Well, you know what? Tournament time is always the time for upsets. I've seen that many times happen
Right.
in these basketball tournaments. And also, Duquesne is playing tonight against
Mhm.
Oakland for their Atlantic 10 tournament game. And Robert Morris blew theirs last week. I'm sorry, I think they played Oakland. Yeah, they
Yeah,
played
they
Oakland.
did. They
Sorry.
did.
Tonight, Duquesne is playing. Hold on a minute. I got it right here. Hang on a second here. Duquesne. Wait a minute. I got it right here. They're
Okay.
playing somebody tonight. Yeah, they're playing
St. Louis.
St. Louis. Yeah, yeah, the old Rick Majerus team. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
playing St. Louis tonight in their lane. They're 20-11. You
That-
know what? You never know. You might see both Duquesne and Pitt in the same tournament. I mean, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I think
So,
the Dukes are a little further out. They're
yeah,
probably an NIT team at best, but yeah, I mean they get hot. They could win
oh
the
yeah,
league too. So
absolutely. Smoking Jim, you have anything you want to add here?
No, I know it summed it up real good. I don't see 2 wins for Pitt. I see them beating Wake Forest, but then they'd have to play North Carolina that's absolutely loaded this year and on fire, and they seem like they got their head focused in the right direction. So I think that to win 2 games and one of them North Carolina, I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, you know what, Smoking Jim, you never know. I mean, anything can happen in any time of the day, and when it comes to tournament time, that's when everybody's psyched up to win, because especially if you're trying to get into the NCAA. Oh yeah, absolutely. So,
right.
but you know what though?
That ain't happening. That ain't happening.
But you know what though? You could see Pitt playing Duquesne in the NIT if both of them end up in the NIT. I
You
mean,
could.
you could see the city game when you don't want to see the
Yeah,
city game.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know, because Jeff Capel didn't want to have the city game.
No, he did not.
He said we don't have the time for Duquesne. So that's what he said. So there you go. All right, Noah, we have Pitt spring football coming up April 13th. I'll be at the game. I know you said you had prior obligations, but anyway, what do you think is this spring game's going to show us here? I mean, I know it don't show us much, but I think it's going to show us a lot because we're anxious to see what Cade Bell has to bring here.
Right, that's the thing. I think that this is probably the most interesting spring game in the Narduzzi era, simply because there have been so many changes. It's an entirely new offensive staff. They brought in a new quarterback. It's going to be fun just to see what this team looks like. How does the offense go? I mean, I've heard from sources that, it hasn't been necessarily the smoothest transition in practice on the offensive side of the
Right.
ball.
Mm-hmm.
But they're going to get a chance to figure it out. So yeah, it's the first time you'll get to see Eli Holstein. That quarterback battle is interesting. You've got 3 guys really competing for a starting spot, 2 guys who started games last year and a kid coming in from Alabama. I mean, you don't see that very often at a program like Pitt where there's so much stability. So yeah, I think there's a lot for fans to be excited about and pay attention to. I am, I'm upset I can't be there, but I'll be there. I'll be in New York covering the Pirates and the Mets. So I'll have my own workout obligations that'll keep me busy. But that's a big day for Pitt football, because it's the first observation period really for a lot of people in that program.
Can I ask you this question real quick, Noah?
Yeah.
What happened with Phil Dracovic? Did he just mentally not be there, or what? I mean,
Mentally,
how
physically,
complicated is Frank Signetti's offense? I mean, it's not even that complicated.
No, I think it's more it's mentally and physically. I mean, this is a guy who had a lot of injuries, Ralph. When he was in Boston College, he got beat up pretty good. And I think
Right.
once your body's been through that, you start doubting if you can physically do the things that you used to be able to do.
Right.
Um, and when you struggle early, after you've been through the experiences he's had, where he got benched at Boston College, he was asked to transfer out of Notre Dame. You feel like, all right, well, this is it. I'm done. And you start doubting yourself. And I think the play calling started to doubt him as well. I think they were overtly conservative with their play calling in games like West
Right.
Virginia, Virginia Tech. And, when your coaches don't doubt, or when your coaches doubt you, you start to doubt yourself. And
Yeah.
that's when
Oh,
you make
absolutely. I
mistakes.
was just curious about that. I've been meaning
Yeah.
to ask you that question. What happened with him and,
Hmm.
with Pitt and all that other stuff. Noah, thanks for being part of the program. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah,
And you
absolutely.
enjoy yourself up there in New York for the Pirate game in
I will.
April and all that. But we might have you coming back on and see what your thoughts are about the tournament games coming up here for Pitt and everything else. So we'll have you either here or on the radio show. So have
I'm
yourself a
here.
great one, Noah.
Yeah, I'm
Thank
available whenever you need me, Ralph. Take
All
care.
right. Thanks, Noah. Have a good one. That was Noah Howes, Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, handles Pitt football and basketball. Smokin' Jim, what's your thoughts on all this? And then we're going to go to a break when we come back. But go ahead with your thoughts.
Yeah, I just thought of that as Noah was getting off the air. I wanted to see if he thought that former quarterback from Pitt that ran a 4.5 at the combine could be
Yeah.
clearly the fastest quarter. Did he see that kind of athletic ability or speed when the guy was there at Pitt? That's an incredible number for a quarterback.
Oh, yeah,
4.5,
especially for a guy like him who supposedly was supposed to be a pocket passer. I mean,
especially for a white guy.
yeah.
Especially for a white guy, Ralph.
I know, man. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I tell you what, man, I almost fell out of my wheelchair when I heard that. I couldn't believe it. I'm watching the NFL Combine, or I'm watching the Combine stuff on the NFL Network, and I'm like looking at this, and I saw Keaton Slovis. I was like, whoa, where was that speed at when he was at Pitt? I mean, come on. Oh, my gosh. All right. Okay, when we come back after these messages, more with Smokin' Jim and I right here on Pittsburgh Sports Talk right after these words. Hello, Ralph Williams here for DJ Fun. DJ Fun FUN is a party and special event DJ. He will DJ your party and will play any genre of music you wish. Call DJ Fun today at 412-990-8448. That number again, 412-990-8448. DJ Fun for the best party DJ and affordable prices. DJ Fun. Let me talk to you here today about Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. 724-201-0500. Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. They have the best technicians to handle your furnace, air conditioner, UV lighting, snow melt, much, much more. Call them today, 724-201-0500. Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. You can also catch them on Facebook at Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. Mata, you oughta call Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. Let me talk to you today about the original Hometown Pizza in Moon Township, right on University Boulevard. They have some of the best pizza you'll ever have. 412-264-4444. Call for takeout, delivery, or eat in. Go to the original Hometown Pizza today. Mention my name, Ralph Williams, and you will get a discount on your bill. Hometown Pizza, Moon Township, some of the best of the original Hometown Pizza. All right, we're back here at the Pittsburgh Sports Talk Show. We're here every Wednesday at 8:30. Myself, Smokin' Jim Frazier, who is on the phone here. Smokin' Jim. Now we're going to talk about NFL free agency. But let's talk a little bit about the Steelers today. They lost another player, Armon Watts. I know that's not much of a loss, but I got to tell you, Armon Watts came in and relieved when he needed to, made tackles when he needed to, and I said he was going to make the team from he was my what they call training camp phenom. You pick one of these players that you think is going to win or get through training camp, and that's what happened there. Smokin' Jim, where do you think the Steelers need to go now? I mean, now Deontay Johnson, Dropson's gone, and we also have some other guys who Where do you think they go now in free agency?
Well, you got to do something offensively. Steelers were already the highest paid defense in the National Football League, and now they added two more big salaries on that defense. I think they're so far out there as far as their salary on defense. They got to get something on offense.
Right.
I would hate to move Daniels to center. I'm not sure if Herbert can handle the center position. Um, I just would love to get a veteran center in here. We got to get a veteran wide receiver.
Yes.
The Steelers are just cheap. The offense is the second lowest paid offense in all of football. So you got the number one defense in all of football, and you got the cheapest offense in all of football. You got to put some money. You got to put some money sooner or later into your offense, man.
Oh, absolutely. They lost Allen Robinson too, and I know maybe he didn't do much this year for the Steelers, but it was that veteran presence in the locker room that I liked the idea of when he was here. So I mean, and now he's moved on as well. So who do you bring in here? They have to get some veterans in here at wide receiver now, since Deontay Johnson's gone, or Dropson more or less. Let Dave Canellis put up with him. I mean, I said that today, on my sports capsule today. I said, let Carolina deal with him. I mean, and I was on Brian Pasquale's show earlier. I said the same thing. Let them deal with him. And I'm going to tell you this right now. He's going to eat Dave Canellis' lunch, because Dave Canellis is a good offensive coordinator. He only had 1 year as an offensive coordinator. He spent most of his career as a quarterbacks coach for the Seattle Seahawks. And then he was he was an offensive coordinator there, I think, for about a year. And then he's had 1 year at Tampa. And then all of a sudden he's the head coach at Carolina. Well, Carolina has $70 million in invested in two former coaches, Matt Rule and Frank Reich. So, I mean, they had to go out and find the cheapest guy they could find as somebody that would take that job. And Dave Canellis must have been desperate, dude, because I wouldn't have took that job. You couldn't pay me to take that job. No. I mean, that owner there, he's just, you know it, and I know it's Smokin' Jim. He's just out of control. And again, it surprises me, because he's from Pittsburgh here, and he went to Carnegie Mellon. You'd think with an engineering degree or whatever he graduated from there, that he would be smart enough to know how to run a football franchise. Oh my gosh. And Carolina's going to lose again. They're going to be sad again, and we'll see what happens. But at least Bryce Young's got somewhat kind of a weapon, despite the fact you were the one that called it. I mean, you said C.J. Stroud was a better quarterback at number one than Bryce Young. Bryce Young is, like you said, too small.
I said if there was 12 rounds in the draft, I wouldn't take Bryce Young.
Yeah.
And he's showing that he's clearly the worst quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, there's another, what do they call them, first round busts? There's another good one there, so
yes, sir.
Plenty of stuff going on in the NFL today. But first, we're going to handle some Pittsburgh sports matters. Penguins blew it again last night, 1-0. Good goaltending by Tristan Jarry. He took some of the blame, which I wish he didn't, because technically they just can't score goals. But the good news is the new guy that they got for Gensel at Bunning, he scored a goal. He scored the goal last night. So that was a good thing here, Smokin' Jim. At least he's off to at least a 1-goal start with the Penguins. So, we're going to find out what goes on there. And the Pirates, they lost today 10-3. Ranji Kateris, again, is having control problems. He walked 6 batters in a row. And then, and then somebody hit a 3-run homer off of him or whatever. They got to do something with this guy. Totally, they do. I think he's going to be the odd man out anyway. They got too much depth at pitching right now. They just signed Eric Lauer, who I checked with my connections with the Milwaukee Brewers, and I was told that he's a really good pitcher. And yesterday, in the 1-0 loss to Boston, that Chase Anderson pitched from Tampa Bay Rays. Anytime you get a pitcher from them, doggone well, they're a good pitcher. So, I mean,
wow.
Chase Anderson's been around a while, so I think he's going to be pretty good as well. I think the Bucks are going to, they might not be too bad this year. It looks like they got some guys, as we know, someone says guys. the fake Mike Tomlin press conference was great yesterday. God, I didn't see. You know, you said the Steelers are cheap. Mike Tomlin took Russell Wilson to Burger King and treated him to a Whopper. So I mean, you know, and he told him Whopper with no cheese because it was going to cost him a couple bucks. You know, Steelers are cheap. You're right, they're cheap. So anyway, but you know, I think the Pirates. We'll see what the Pirates do this year. Hey, Orneal Cruz leading the Grapefruit League in home runs. He's got five in the last 5 games. So now he's up in home runs. So I mean, you know, Henry Davis still hitting, doing well behind the plate. Looks like he's coming up for the season. And that Grunzel, he's been hurt. That veteran guy they signed. And it's probably going to be Davis and Jason DeLay because I hear this Grunzel's got this injury, and I can't remember what it was. He's got some kind of injury, and he hasn't even been able to play. He hasn't played since the end of February. So, I mean, you know, we're going to find out where they go with catcher, you know, in first base. And Ji-Man Choi or Bay is the one that's down. He's got an injury, but it's crowded at second base. What do you think, Smokin' Jim, this year for the Pirates?
Hey, if you can turn them into the Bash Brothers, man, and hit a bunch of home runs, man, that'll generate a lot of excitement. Even if they don't win a ton of games, man, people will come to the ball yard just to see, you know, home runs, man, and they're starting to what I think they lead the Grapefruit League in home runs and if they can continue that, man, that'd be very exciting.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. We'll see where it goes. I hope they don't, you know, it seems like this team always has a problem after the All-Star game. And my mom always says, well, maybe they're too much partying during the All-Star game. My mom always blames partying for that. You know what I mean? So, but
real quick, Ralph, I don't want to get you off stride.
No, go ahead.
I just wanted to say this, man. I think it's going to be a big problem for the Pittsburgh Steelers playing Henry with the Baltimore Ravens. I thought that was a great move for the Ravens. They're already with the #1 rushing team in all of football, and we know the Pittsburgh Steelers play 10 on 11 on defense. You know, Joey Porter Jr. is not interested at all in tackling Henry. So, you know, it's going to be a big problem when he gets his motor running, man. So I thought that was a big move for the Ravens, especially if they want to, you know, beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, who've been beating them the last few years.
Yeah, they have. And let me say this: the Ravens just got better with Derrick Henry. I mean, the running game, Lamar Jackson's feet. I mean, you know, and you know, we all know how he can run, and he had a really good year this year with this new offensive coordinator, Todd Monken.
Yep.
And Monken's going to put Derrick Henry into a see, what people don't realize about Todd Monken, everybody thinks, oh, well, Todd Monken's, well, listen, Todd Monken was a high school coach down there in Alabama, okay? And he got hired by Auburn. And everybody went, oh, this guy's a high school coach. But everyone forgets that all the athletes that Auburn and Alabama got from his high school, okay, came from his high school. So that's why Auburn hired him. And then when he, you know, you know how the alum gets impatient in places like Auburn, and they're still not doing, you know, they're still not where they need to be. You know, they haven't been for a long time. But anyhow, you know, Auburn hired, and when he left Auburn, he went around, he did some jobs, you know, all around the college area, and then finally got his chance in the pros. And I'll tell you what, this guy, you know, he's kind of like me, more or less. You know, I've been screwed over by the media in this town for so many years, and he got screwed over in college so many times and whatnot, and his opportunities in the NFL, he got screwed over. So it's the same concept, but now he's in his comfort zone. He's in Baltimore. He's helping Lamar Jackson. He's good at working with a quarterback. He's got a good offensive system. And you know what? Baltimore's going to be dangerous this year, Smokin' Jim. I would not sell them out to be dangerous. They're going to be back in the hunt again.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Cincinnati, though, I'm interested to see what they're going to do with Zach Moss, because they got rid of Mixon and signed Moss. Zach Moss from the Indianapolis Colts. So my question is, where's that going to go? So Cleveland bringing in Jameson Winston to back up Deshaun Watson. That Deshaun Watson thing's been nothing but a nightmare for Cleveland. Cleveland really, oh my gosh. Oh, how many times did I say it, Smokin' Jim? Cleveland will never be good. Never.
I thought for sure that they would have Joe Flacco, who the fans love,
right.
That was very productive. And if Deshaun Watson got off to a slow start, or if he got hurt, you got Flacco that can come in and win games for you.
Right.
And they bring in Jameis in the turnover machine.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't understand it, man.
Oh yeah. All right, today's moves I have here, and then we're going to talk about some other free agency stuff going on here. Today's moves that we know about: Mason Rudolph, Armon Watts, Jordan Whitehead, the Ravens. The Ravens released Tyrus Bowser, a linebacker. I don't know how good he is other than Patrick Queen, but wouldn't that be interesting if the Steelers bring him in? Then we got two former Ravens linebackers playing for us.
Yeah.
That would be an interesting scenario right there. Also, 49ers.
And don't forget, a few weeks ago, they signed Moon, a former Raven linebacker.
Yes.
Defensive end linebacker.
Yes. They signed him too. That's right. So, the Steelers, we'll see what they do at inside linebacker. Cole Holcomb is hurt. I don't know if the story is I'm hearing right now, he may not even be back for the beginning of the season. Might not be the middle of the season with his injuries, I'm told. 49ers.
Robert's coming back.
Spillane. Yeah, I hope so.
No, Robert.
Oh, Landon Roberts. Yeah, he's coming back. And then we don't know what Kawan Alexander's up to yet. We don't know that. So we're going to find out where that goes. But, we'll see where that heads. The 49ers released Eric Armstead. I can't believe they did that today. Boy, wow. And then Mike Williams, as we know from the Chargers, got released. And then since he released safety Nick Scott. Nick Scott's not a bad safety. I think the Steelers need to take a look at him. I mean, you know what I mean? Maybe they can get some pointers as to how they run their defense.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe take some lessons from their defense, because Terrell Austin, he has no idea. You know what I mean? None whatsoever. None whatsoever. So, Bears signed quarterback, former Denver quarterback Brent Ripien. He played for a couple other teams in the last year. Titans signed wide receiver Calvin Ridley. That'll give Mason Rudolph something to throw to. There you go.
Wow.
Yeah, and then, of course, we knew the inevitable. The Raiders cut Jimmy Garoppolo, and they also cut wide receiver Hunter Renfrow. Hunter Renfro's not a bad. Again, here we go. We got some guys
I like
here.
Him.
Yeah,
I like him.
We got some guys here, man. Where's the Steelers at? Where's Omar Khan at? Somebody dial his number, man. Get his attention. Nothing happened to Steeler office today. Nothing. Not a thing.
Wow.
I mean, if I'm the Steelers, man, I'd be signing them like crazy. Again, I heard they got a bunch of money now under the cap because they cut all these players and did all this.
They're only paying their quarterbacks $1 million and $1.9 million. So they got plenty of room, plenty of money to throw around, brother.
Yeah, they have the worst facility in the league too.
Yeah, they ain't still putting no money in that.
Oh my gosh. Oh my. All right, let's see what else we got here. The Patriots, they released wide receiver Deontay Parker. Let's see who else is here. The Commanders signed Claudio's buddy and my man Marcus Mariota, who I thought was going to be a Steeler quarterback. Arthur Smith. Wow. I mean, he was with Arthur Smith both in Atlanta and Tennessee. Arthur Smith resurrected his backup career. I mean, because he was horrible with the Raiders. And then when he went to Tennessee, he did okay there. And, when he was with Tennessee with Arthur Smith. And then also don't forget, too, he was with him in Atlanta. He was in Philly this year, backed up Jalen Hurts. So Marcus Mariota, I call him the traveling quarterback, is now with the Commanders. So, and as I said,
the Commanders been doing a good job in the offseason. They've been really signing a lot of guys.
Yeah, they have. They have. Yeah, I'm
They're
going to
trying
get
to
the.
they're trying to compete. They're trying to compete with the fan base of their UFL team that
Oh, the
sells
DC
out, right?
Defenders. You heard that from Mike Mitchell yesterday, who we had on
Yeah,
our
yes, sir.
radio
Yes,
show.
sir.
I didn't know the DC Defenders were that popular down there with the Reds or with the Commanders there. I still say they should have called them the Presidents. If it was going to be anything other
Yeah.
than the Commanders or other than the Redskins, they should have went with the Presidents. And that was one of the names, Smokin' Jim, that Washington was going to go with.
Wow.
Yeah, that was
I
one of
still
the.
can't believe. I still can't believe they're not the Redskins, man.
Well, you got these, and here's. I know I'm straying off a little bit on some topics here, but here's our government at work. Here's our government at work letting these crybaby people get, make a difference like that or say something like that. Like Columbus Day. They still got that statue covered over at Shinley Park for no reason. I mean, what is the reason for keeping that statue covered? Because a few people complained. I mean,
Really, I didn't even know about that. I didn't
yeah,
know about
yeah.
that.
Oh, yeah. That's been like that now for 3 years now, since Peduto was mayor of the city. He put a cover over it. They were going to move it over to the Frick Art Museum over there in Point Breeze. They were going to put it somewhere over there, and then it's still there because the Italian Sons and Daughters of America are fighting in court, and they won. So I don't know if they took that banner or that cloth or cover or whatever off the statue. Bill
Wow, I
Peduto,
didn't know that.
because they had a protest over there, so Bill Peduto decided to put a cover over it. He caved into them just like he caved into everybody else. You know what I mean? So yeah. So But anyway, all right. When we come back, I have to pay a few bills here. So when we come back, Smokin' Jim and I are going to talk some more about some of this NFL stuff here with the free agency right after these words. (965) 6578 P6 Auto Detailing. They are the professionals at detailing cars. That number again, 412-965-6578 P6 Auto Detailing in New Kensington. Ralph Williams here today to let you know that I am handicapped. I'm in a wheelchair, and I will not deny it. But I've had some recent inconveniences lately. So you know what I did? I went out and I reached out to foldandtravelmobility.com. Foldandtravelmobility.com has some of the best folding power wheelchairs. Look, do you not go to certain events because you can't get there or you can't make it because you need a folding power wheelchair to put in your vehicle? Well, guess what? Foldandtravelmobility.com has the right model for you. Get in touch with them today. Foldandtravelmobility.com. Get on the phone, 1-877-GOTFOLD, foldandtravelmobility.com, 1-877-GOTFOLD. Let the experts help you get into a folding power wheelchair. Don't be sad. Be glad. Let your life get back in order. Foldandtravelmobility.com. Hello, Ralph Williams here to talk to you today about Sleep Pittsburgh 8th Avenue Homestead for the best selection of affordable mattresses, day beds, lift chairs, futons, and more. Check out sleeppittsburgh.com for their inventory or call 412-462-7858. They also offer no credit check financing and a whole lot more. Sleep Pittsburgh for the best sleep tonight. Ralph Williams here for sponsorship advertising with RW Media Productions. You get Sports Corner Radio Show on Beaver County Radio. You also get 8 podcasts. Call today for the best affordable rates in advertising at 412-545-4317 or ralphwilliams737@gmail.com. Look forward to hearing from you. Sponsorship advertising with RW Media Productions. Okay, we're back here at the Pittsburgh Sports Talk Show with me, Ralph Williams, and my co-host by phone, Smokin' Jim Frazier. Smokin' Jim, let's go over a few of the free agencies here with some of these teams. We'll start at the beginning with Arizona, who has been kind of quiet, but they quietly signed defensive tackle Justin Jones, 3 years, $30.1 million. Cornerbacks, Sean Murphy Bunting, 3 years, $25 million. Linebacker Mac Wilson, 3 years, $12 million. Offensive lineman Tristan Colon, who I thought they were going to let walk. The Steelers could have picked him up. He's a good offensive lineman. 1 year, $1.75 million. Running back DJ Dallas still to be determined. And they re-signed offensive lineman Keith Ishmael, another good offensive lineman, to a 1-year contract. Atlanta Falcons got the big prize, Smokin' Jim. What are your thoughts on this? Kirk Cousins, what do you think?
I tell you what, man, Kirk Cousins has been hitting the lottery his whole career. Don't forget, he came in the same year as RG3, and RG3 been out of football.
Yeah.
$180 million. I really thought the Atlanta Falcons, the better fit would have been Fields. Fields wanted to go there. I think he's from Atlanta. I thought it was a young team. Fields can really run. I thought that Kirk Cousins would have been a better fit at some other place, but you can't pass up that kind of money. I thought that Minnesota Vikings would have done everything they could to re-sign Kirk Cousins, but it wasn't to be. So, wow, I was shocked. I was shocked to see that number. I was shocked. You know, when we talked before, Ralph, and there were some other people that got on the line in some of our other shows, and they were saying that, hey, the Steelers ought to go after Kirk Cousins. I'm like, Kirk Cousins ain't coming here for free.
No, not at all.
It's going to cost you about $40 million for Kirk Cousins. And they're like, no, about $8 million. I'm like, no, you guys got the wrong Kirk Cousins, man.
Yeah. Yeah. And let me tell you this, Smokin' Jim, he's not that good of a quarterback, and he's never been to a Super Bowl. So how do you pay a guy like that? I mean,
he only won one playoff game.
Exactly. Yes, and he's like you said, he's been getting paid, and now they're going to give him $180 million for 4 years. I mean, come on, man. Oh my gosh, he must have a horseshoe up his ass or something. I mean, you know.
I think at the end of this contract, he would be up around $431 million in career earnings. Man, that's incredible.
I do like everybody else is doing now, playing for 6 years or whatever and getting out.
Yeah.
You know, because there's so much money, you can get out. You don't have to stay for 14 years and beat up your body or whatever, you know. Kind of like Tom Brady. How much money do you need? Well, he needs the money now because he's in the process of a divorce, I believe. I'm not even sure. I don't even know what.
Can you divorce that money?
Oh.
All that money his wife is worth. Wow.
Yeah, she told him not to play, and he went to Tampa. So there you go. You know?
Yeah.
That's like somebody else I know who wasn't supposed to be the mayor of the city of Pittsburgh. She told him no, and he ended up divorcing his wife.
Wow.
Mayor Ravenstall.
Wow.
Yep.
And you know what? I thought he was going to be mayor for like 50 years now.
Yeah. You know, well, he had to get out of it. It ruined his family. I mean, you know, it cost him his marriage.
Wow.
His wife told him.
Wow.
You know, when he took over for Bob O'Connor, his wife told him, I don't want to be part of this. I don't want nothing. You know, they would go to her hairstylist and go, oh, you're Mayor Ravenstall's wife. I didn't know you
Wow.
worked here. I'm like,
Wow. She wasn't
she,
cut for it. She wasn't cut out for it, huh?
yeah, she just wasn't up for the publicity. And sometimes people don't want
Wow.
that. I mean, they want to be left
Wow.
alone. What do you think? Our buddy Antonio Brown, remember he complained about every time he went around Pittsburgh here, people would bother him. He couldn't go nowhere with his family. Remember?
Well, well, I tell you what, I know he wish people would bother him now. He's out in the he's doing everything he can to get in the limelight. The one thing about me, bro, is and you're cut out of the same cloth. Man, we've been wanting this our whole life, man. So I never
Yes.
complain. I never, turn down shows if I'm available because this is what you've been wanting.
Yes.
And these guys that complain about that, listen, man, and I'll just say this real quickly. Mike Tyson, who's a real nut, in 2014 when I did a 5-page newspaper story on Mike Tyson.
Right.
The next day we went to an event, and Mike Tyson signed autographs for free for 3 hours. Anybody that stood in line to get an autograph from Mike Tyson, and he didn't have to do it.
No, he didn't.
And
No.
and I was with Marcus Allen one time
Right.
at the Hilton Hotel downtown Pittsburgh. He couldn't have been more ruder to fans. But then
Wow.
Charles Barkley stayed and talked to everybody. So it's just, hey, because people will remember, that impression.
I had a bad experience with
yeah.
Gary Sheffield.
Yeah.
I had a bad. I don't know if I told you this. I picked him up at Ruth Chris Steakhouse downtown. Took him to the William Penn. It was $4.60 on a meter. He gave me $5.
You gotta be kidding
I kid
me.
you not. He gave me $5.
Oh man.
And he was rude as can be. I mean, he was not a nice guy. Greg Maddux was rude. I took Greg Maddux over. All he did was bitch and complain about how the Braves weren't playing well and he needs to win more games or whatever he was doing, or somebody needs to do this and that. And there was this elderly gentleman that was with him. I don't know who he was. I don't know if it was his agent, his or his lawyer or whatever. I don't know. I took him over to PNC Park from the Hilton downtown, and all he was doing was complaining. And then I says to, I was trying to be nice to him. How you doing? I didn't even call him Mr. Maddox. I didn't even call him Greg.
Yeah.
All right. And I says, how are you? How's everything? Didn't say one word to me. Didn't give me the time of day or nothing. Then he gets out of the cab, and this little girl comes up to him and says, "Hi, Greg, can I have your autograph?" And he shooed her away with his hand. He wouldn't even sign this girl's autograph. I mean, and then the older gentleman that was with him gave me a $20 bill for that $4 trip, and he said, "Keep the change. I'm sorry about Mr. Maddox's conduct." That's how he apologized to me for that.
What a shame.
And I don't know what was bothering him that day. You know what I mean? And everybody said about Chad, how bad Chad Johnson is, and Chad Johnson's an a-hole, and Chad Johnson this, and Oko Cincho that. I had both of them in my cab. I took them out to Ross Park Mall to get their phones fixed at the AT&T. They told me to wait outside, or to wait for them at the mall. The bill was $50. They gave me $100 tip, or they gave me $100. Said keep the change.
Wow.
Nice as can be. I mean, I talked to the very nice. Chad was very nice with me. So was Hushman Zada. And they said they both were jerks.
Hey, you remember Chemo?
Yeah.
Defensive end for the Steelers?
Yeah.
Good looking big guy, man. We had him down in Station Square for a TV shoot. He comes down, and it was Crawford Grill opened a second location in Station Square. He comes in, he sits at the bar, has one beer before he gets on because he couldn't stay long. We put him up first, but he left $100 tip. And I tell you what, that waitress is probably still saying good things about him all these years later. I mean, you cannot get make a second
impression. That's right. That's right.
Hey, $100 tip, man. It probably didn't hurt him a bit, but he made a fan out of all the people that worked there, and
I'll tell you a good story. Marquise Pouncey used to park his car when he would go to events at PPG Paints Arena. He parked his car over at the Marriott. Okay.
Hmm.
and he would valet park his car there. And I think that was the time when the Pittsburgh Power were just getting started or something like that.
Yeah,
Okay.
that
Well,
arena
yeah,
team.
he
Yeah.
was there for that. I got to meet Lynn Swan, believe it or not. And
Okay.
I was working there as a driver, as a van driver, and I was talking to the valet, and the valet went to bring up Marquise Pouncey's car his rookie season. You know, he didn't give him a tip.
What?
He
That,
didn't give him a
I
tip.
believe it.
He
I
didn't give him
believe
a
it.
tip his
I
first
believe it.
year.
It's sad but true. Sad but true. I believe it.
Yeah, and I heard Ben was
Yeah.
bad. I mean, I
Oh,
know some
Ben.
people
Yeah.
who own restaurants out in North
Yeah.
Hills. They told
Yeah.
me. I know a
It's
guy.
all true.
Yeah,
It's all true with Ben.
yeah. I heard he'd walk in and ask for free food, and one time the guy that managed one of the places out there, and the name I'm not going to mention, uh, was managed one of the places that Ben went into. He called the cops on him because he refused to pay his bill. He says, "I'm Ben Roethlisberger. I shouldn't have to pay for anything."
Well, that Ben most of the time not only didn't he pay, he just walk out, and most of the time all they did was contact the Steelers, and the Steelers would pay the bill. Ben didn't pay for nothing, man. He was
Yeah.
rude. He didn't tip.
Oh yeah, I heard
Um,
that story.
oh,
Yeah, from a few of
yeah.
my. I had some
Oh,
buddies that worked at a couple. I mean, restaurants that he frequent out there. They said Troy was great though. Troy
oh,
Polamalu,
yeah,
class man,
yeah,
class act.
yeah,
And I told you
yeah,
about Ryan Clark. I told you my interaction with him. You know,
yeah.
so I mean, he was good. Ike Taylor was a jerk. I mean, I told you my interaction with him. I almost towed his Hummer away. I almost had his Hummer towed away. He comes in, he says, "I'm Mike Taylor from the Steelers. How are you?" I said, "Oh, I know who you are. You don't have to tell me your name." And he goes, "Well, can you move my Hummer?" I said, "No, I'm not moving your Hummer. I was working security in an apartment building downtown." And he was there because the massage lady who had the massage business, her clients were the Steelers. So and I told him, I says, I'll tow your Hummer away. Well, I'm like, "Taylor, you wouldn't do that to me, would you?" I said, "Oh, yes, I would." I says, "If you got a problem, you can go in the back office and talk to my boss, because she'll tell you the same thing." And my boss, said I did that right because so what if he's a Steeler? You know, Ryan Clark come in, handed me his keys, and he says, I parked right out. He says, "I didn't block the circular driveway like I did because he saw what I was doing." You know what I mean? And so I told him, and at the time my first wife was in real bad shape at Shadyside Hospital. She was on her deathbed. And I was on the phone with the hospital, and Ryan Clark overheard me talking. And I says, "I'm sorry, Ryan, I didn't get to you right away." He said, "No, that's okay." He says, "What's going on?" I said, "Well, my wife's in the hospital." I said, "She's in bad shape. She's on her deathbed." And he goes, "Well, I'll say some prayers for her." And then about 2 weeks later, I was doing, my other job was I was doing store security for Giant Eagle. And I used to bust shoplifters. And so I went to the Giant Eagle in the Homestead, and I see a Range Rover pull up, and Ike Taylor, or it wasn't, Ryan Clark was there with his dry cleaning. He got his dry cleaning done there. And he come up to me, shook hands. He said, "Ralph, how are you? How's your wife?" I said, "Not too good. My wife's up with the Lord." And he went, "Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, man." He said, "I said some prayers." He says, "I'll say some more prayers, man." He says, "Sorry to hear that." He was real nice, remembered who I was. You know what I mean? Yeah. So,
Man, that's great. I
yeah.
love stories like that, man.
Yeah. And then one
I love
time,
stories like that.
I used to ring the bell for the Salvation Army at the Southside Giant Eagle. I'm sitting down there. Ramon Foster pulls up, and I knew it was him because I know he went to Tennessee, and there's a truck pulling up, and I saw what looked like a big man sitting in there, and I said, "You know what? That must be Ramon Foster." And it pulls up.
Mhm.
No sooner do I know it is him. He pulls up, and he had this big pickup truck with a big T on it, the Tennessee emblem,
Mhm.
comes right past me. I said, has a hood over him. He didn't even want nobody to see who he was. Didn't want nobody to see who he was, and walked into the store. And then he comes out of the store and he sees me sitting there ringing the bell. And I said, "How you doing, Ramon?" Didn't say a word to me, just kept walking with that hood over his head. Didn't want nobody
He
to
didn't
see
leave
him.
it. He didn't leave nothing for the kids.
Didn't put nothing in the pot. Nothing.
Oh,
Nope.
unbelievable.
But I did have the privilege of meeting Terrell Edmonds. He lived in a townhouse right by Warden Square, and I used to drive Lyft, and I was sitting down there eating my dinner because I went into the Chinese place there and got me some food, and I was sitting there eating my dinner, and I see Terrell Edmonds parking his car. I says, "Oh, you park over here, Terrell?" He goes, "Yeah," and I said, "Oh, yeah, nice." That was the day after he had that nice game, that one good game that he had. You know what I mean? Because he didn't have too many. So anyway, he yeah, yeah, it's a great game yesterday. He says thanks, and then he walked over. He was living in them. Him and Matt Spaeth and a couple other guys and some rookies were living in that one townhouse right over there by Warden Square, across from the Advanced Auto Parts.
Okay.
Yeah. So oh, by the way, getting off topic a little bit, there was some bad thing happened today at Monroeville. Power was out, power lines came down, and they had to shut the turnpike down. It happened. Some power lines came down over the overpass. They had to shut the turnpike down today.
Wow, that's a little scary, huh?
Yeah, and some people lost their power. And I was wondering if it was you,
No.
So
I never lose it. I never lose it.
So anyway, any final thoughts before we wrap up, Smokin' Jim?
Yeah, a lot of people don't know Terrell Edmonds' dad was a tight end for Dan Marino for the Miami Dolphins. So he grew up
Around football.
Football, and was raised very well to appreciate the community.
It's too bad that his brother Jermaine ended up in Chicago.
I would have loved to have had him.
Oh, he was a good linebacker for the Bills. I mean, he deserved to be in the first round. Not Terrell did.
Yeah.
Terrell was. He should have been a third or fourth round pick.
Yeah.
Hey, let me ask you this: do you agree with me that Kevin Colbert did a lot of reaching in his time?
Well, don't forget when Kevin Colbert was brought in here, when Bill Cowher ran out Tom Donahoe, who was very qualified. Kevin Colbert was basically just a coffee boy for Bill Cowher. And then when
Tomlin came in,
when Tomlin came in, that's why you had all them bad picks, because Tomlin was a young coach and didn't know nothing about drafting. And Kevin Colbert started making bad picks after bad pick after bad picks and reaching for people. And he made a lot of bad picks.
I was on my church's retreat, and the weekend of the draft when Terrell Edmonds was picked, and we had a chance to take Lamar Jackson, and we didn't. The Ravens picked after us. They picked one after us, and they took Lamar Jackson. We let him slide.
Wow.
Okay.
Unbelievable.
We didn't. We had an opportunity to get Lamar Jackson. We didn't get him. And I'm sitting there watching on my tablets. I used to smoke cigars. I lit up a stogie, and I'm sitting there on the outside of the building that I was staying in on the retreat. Mm-hmm. I'm watching the draft live on my tablet. And when I saw Terrell Edmonds come up, and I was like, "Oh, are you kidding me?" You know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah. It was just, I was in a world of shock, and Ray Porter was with me at that retreat, and I said, "Ray, we just took Terrell Edmonds." He said, "Who?" I said, "Terrell Edmonds." He said, "Who?"
And he was only in New York because his brother was going to be a top 15
excuse me.
pick.
Right.
And he was there supporting his brother. He had no idea. When the Steelers called him, he was more shocked than anybody.
Oh, I know. I know. And I mean, there were a lot of reaches. Jason Worlds. I mean, it was Jarvis Too Slow Jones, you call him,
Yeah. Artie Burns.
Artie Burns. Oh, we thought Artie Burns was good. We thought Artie Burns was good because of how good he played against Pitt. That was what Colbert said. Just like Colbert said about Presley Harvin. Oh, we got the best punter in college. He won the Ray Guy Award, and he's good at the fake punts and kicks. Not one time was he used for any of that. Not one time.
Unbelievable.
Well, I want to tell you this. The Bengals did re-sign T. Higgins. They gave him a 1-year contract. They signed safety Geno Stone. Then, of course, Zach Moss we know about. Mike Kazicki. They got Mike Kazicki from Miami for tight end.
Wow.
So, and tight end Drew Sample, Penn State grad. They gave him a 3-year deal. And guard Cody Ford, they gave a 1-year deal. We're just going to go over the AFC North, and then we're going to wrap it up here. I wanted to try to go over everybody, but, you know, we didn't have enough time because we had guests on and stuff. So quarterback Jameson Winston for Cleveland. Edge rusher to Zadarius Smith, they gave him 2 years. Jordan Hicks, linebacker, and Michael Dunn. Of course, Cleveland doesn't have much to work with because of Deshaun Watson, so they don't have a lot to work with, you know. So, but yeah, that's the AFC North in a nutshell. Hold on, let me see about Baltimore here. We didn't go over Baltimore. I was going to do that next here. Let me see here. Bears. Hold on. Let me see here. Carolina. Baltimore. Justin Madubiki. 4 years, $98 million. He just got cut by the 49ers. He was in the Super Bowl. And then Derrick Henry, we know about, and they signed re-signed Nelson Aguilar, wide receiver. I thought he was going to be available, and I was going to say the Steelers should pick him up too, but we all know how that proceeded to go. Dallas hasn't been very active. They signed long snapper Trent Saig to a 1-year contract and linebacker Eric Kendricks to 1 year. They have not been very active. So you know, just let you know about that. Detroit's has done okay. Green Bay, here and there, they got about 5. But the Houston Texans have done a lot. They've signed a lot of guys, and I guess they have a lot of money under the cap because they got a rookie contract for their quarterback. And you know, so let me see here. Pittman Jr. Is with Indy Colts. He signed for 3 years, $70 million. Let me see here. And Jacksonville signed wide receiver Gabe Davis from Buffalo. They gave him 3 years, $39 million. Smokin' Jim.
Wow.
Josh Allen, their edge rusher, 1 year, $24 million. Mac Jones acquired in the trade. There's no contract details on him yet. They signed that center Mitch Morse, the one that the Steelers wanted from Buffalo. He came in and left right away. I guess he wasn't happy because Tomlin treated him to a junior Whopper instead of a Whopper, you know. So Chris Jones re-signs with Kansas City. That's going to be a nightmare for anybody in the NHL or in the AFC. Let me see here. The Raiders, Christian Wilkins, 4 years, $110 million. Wow. Quarterback Gardner Minshew, he's going to get 2 years for $25 million. Amir Abdul re-signed, running back. And then Harrison Bryant, tight end, 1 year, $3.25 million. The Chargers, they haven't been very busy signing too many people. Running back Gus Edwards, 2 years, $6.5 million. And Aloy Gilman, safety, 2 years, $11 million. I guess Harbaugh's going to start with the building from the draft. Let's see here, unless they sign some guys real quick here. I'm interested to see what the Rams are doing. DeMarcus Robinson, 1 year, $5 million. Let's see here. Kevin Dotson, our former offensive guard. You ready for these figures?
Yes.
3 years, $48 million.
Wow.
And look at the season he had, and he stunk here.
Yeah.
So, you know, we in Tomlin's era, Smokin' Jim, and I think you agree with me, there's been too much of that going on, you know?
Yeah. Poor coaching.
Oh, here we go. Here was a guy that was supposed to come to the Steelers, but they laid an egg and didn't bother to sign him. Center Aaron Brewer from the Titans, 3 years, $21 million to the Dolphins. That was on the Steelers' radar because he was an Arthur Smith guy. And then Minnesota, Sam Darnold, 1 year, $10 million up there in Minnesota. We'll see what happens up there with Sam Darnold. He's been around, so you know. New England, let's see here. Hunter Henry, 3 years, $27 million, tight end. Jacoby Brissett, 1 year, $8 million. Backup quarterbacks are not cheap these days, so the Saints, Willie Gay Jr. I heard the Steelers were looking at him. 1 year, $5 million. They re-signed him, or the Saints got him. So let's see. The Giants, they re-signed Drew Lock. He's a bum. 1 year, $5 million. Let's see here. Brian Burns, 5 years, $150 million in a trade from the Panthers. Wow.
No.
Yeah, so let's see who else. Devin Singletary, running back to be determined. They're still working that out. The Jets signed Tyrod Taylor, quarterback, 2 years, $18 million. And then Greg Zerline, kicker, 2 years, $8.4 million. And Javon Kinlaw, 1 year, but they don't have no figures on him. Let's see here. We know the Eagles signed Shaquan Barkley, 3 years, $37.75 million. What do you think of that? Do you think they should have gave him that much money? He's an injury case.
I would have, yeah.
You would have gave him that much money?
Yeah, for Philadelphia, yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's going to shine for them.
We'll see what happens. They got Kellen Moore as their offensive coordinator, so let's see where they go this year with that. And then we'll wrap it up with the Steelers here. Linebacker Patrick Queen, Russell Wilson in the trade for Deontay Johnson, and that's it. We ended up with Donta Jackson, whoever this guy is. I have no clue. I'm going to have to do some research on him because I have no idea who he is.
He's really fast.
Is he really?
But he 2 years ago he had an Achilles injury. He's small. He's a small thin guy, but played at LSU.
Oh,
But
okay.
he's really fast. He got world class speed, so we'll see.
Well, Seattle here.
He's making $12 million a year. That's a lot of money for a corner.
Well, Seattle here. You're not going to believe this. You ready? Re-signed Artie Burns, but no figures are here.
Wow. He must got pictures on somebody.
Well, they have a new coach here, Mike McDonald. He's a defensive guy, so let's see where that goes. You know what I mean? So. But hey, there's another one that's moved on, and hey, he's got another contract with another team. Tennessee has signed Tony Pollard, running back, 3 years, $24 million, take the place of Derrick Henry. So let me look here. The Commanders. You got me going now, Smokin' Jim. Commanders have been busy, like you said. Zach Ertz, 1 year, $5 million. He's a good player. Let me think here. Celine Farrell, Tyler Bletz, the center here. There's another one the Steelers could have had. We need a center. We need a center. Well, you know what? You gotta sign some guys, man. You can't be just sitting around twiddling your thumbs. So. All right, Smokin' Jim. Any final thoughts before we wrap it up?
Oh no, great show, man. Great, you prepared as usual.
Yeah, we had a little bit of a mess up at the beginning, but I think we're okay. So But anyway, hey, everybody, you get us twice a week now. You not only get us here, but you get us on the radio too. So don't forget Tuesday nights, Beaver County Radio. This Tuesday is going to be one phenomenal show, Smokin' Jim. We have David Alexander coming on from Amped Up Sports. He's going to talk with us about the Denver Broncos and what happened with Russell Wilson there. Okay, we'll get it right from the horse's mouth there. And then we got Michael McHenry coming back on to join the show, or the guest on the show, former Pittsburgh Pirate and current Pirate broadcaster. Him and his wife just bought a minor league baseball team in Johnstown. So we're going to talk about that a little bit, the Pirates. And the big one, 5:30 p.m. on Tuesday, Bill Hillgrove will join us. And Brian Pasquale as well from the One Man's Opinion. But Bill Hillgrove will join us. And I think I have to be careful about the questions I ask Bill. We had this discussion about his I had mentioned that he had kind of, when I talked to him about the Steelers and his retirement, he kind of got kind of angry with me, kind of hostile. You know what I mean? I don't know what's going on. Ray Fittipaldo said nothing. I think something happened, but only three people know what happened. Bill Hillgrove, the Steelers, and God, and nobody's talking. But anyway, yeah, and no one's talking. I mean, that's. I think something happened there because remember, Smokin' Jim, Art Rooney II, when Bill Hillgrove retired, he released a statement on Twitter. There was no press conference. There was no, hey, thanks, Bill. He just threw something out on Twitter. Well, thank you, Bill Hillgrove, for all your time, and that was it. Okay, something went wrong there for him to all of a sudden just say, I'm going to retire. I'm stepping down. You know what I mean? Something happened. And I think it was a bitter thing because Here's what Bill Hillgrove told me. I'm going to do like Carson, and I'm going to do like Cope. I don't want nothing to do with the Steelers. Carson didn't want nothing to do with the Tonight Show after he retired. He said Cope didn't want nothing to do with the Steelers after he retired. So, the Steelers are good for doing this, Smokin' Jim. Look what they did to Troy Polamalu. Look what they did to a couple other people who retired. They treated them like dirt. You know what I mean? They, just ran them out. And it's sad that they did it this way. I mean, even Ben even said that he really didn't want to walk away, but he did. You know what I mean? So, I mean, but that's Ben talking, we don't know if that really happened, but I mean, you and I both have seen this, some of the animosity with the Steelers because of some of the guys who have played for the Steelers. And when they went to retire, went out, they weren't appreciated. And, and all of a sudden Polamalu's with the, in the Steelers Hall of Fame, and he's also in the NFL Hall of Fame. So now his relationship with the Steelers is back to being pretty decent, I'm hearing. So I mean, but that was the way I heard the way it was handled was wrong. The way they handled Polamalu and Ben and a few other people. So I mean, Le'Veon Bell might come back, Smokin' Jim. There you go. There's a resurrected career. Hey, Mike Tomlin will bring him back. I don't think he had any problems with him. Bring back Antonio Brown. And then it'll be RBB. Russell, Bell, and Brown. There you go. RBB instead of Triple B. All right, Smokin' Jim, thanks for being part of the program. As always, I'll talk with you next Tuesday. And we'll be texting back and forth and talking off the air here. But I'll talk with you again on Tuesday. Have yourself a great night, and thank you.
All right. Good night, sir.
All right. Have a good one. Smokin' Jim Frazier, my co-host here for Pittsburgh Sports Talk. We're in the Mata Heating and Air Conditioning Studios, 724-201-0500, Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. Give them a call today. Ask for Bill. Tell Bill Ralph Williams sent you. And it's been a great night here on our debut here on social media platforms. We were on Blog Talk Radio. I have dissolved my company or my media shows completely with Blog Talk Radio. Everything will be here other than Sports Corner Radio Show, which is on Beaver County Radio. And also, it is on social media. It's on my YouTube channel. Just pop up Sports Corner with Ralph Williams and Smokin' Jim Frazier, and you'll see the radio show and your opportunity to watch it. It's also on Beaver County Radio's Facebook page and YouTube channel. You can check it out if you haven't checked it out already. It's on Amped Up Sports website, also on Sideline Sports and all other and TGI Sports and all the other networks that sponsor Sports Corner Radio Show. Also, it's part of their network as well. Don't forget, tomorrow night I'll be on at 9:15 on a show called Fire Up. I'm on every Thursday with Candy Ebling, George Eichhorn, and Jeremy Ballridge, and we do the show called Fire Up. It's on the South Florida Tribune network of shows. We'll be on around 9:15, 9:20 tomorrow night. So don't forget to tune into that. And also, that's on Facebook and YouTube, and you can catch it on Spotify, iHeartRadio, and some other entities as well. On Friday, 11 a.m., don't forget the External Boom Show. We move here to social media platform. Myself, Ralph Williams, J.D. Toth from Draft 412, Scott Morganroth, South Florida Tribune, and Leo Haggerty from Amped Up Sports. We will be here Friday morning on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter platforms, 11 a.m. And we talk about bums in sports and other sports. We'll probably be talking about the free agency in the NFL and a whole lot more. Baseball season coming up as well. And then Saturday morning at 10:30 a.m., telling it like it is with me and with myself, Ralph Williams, Leo Haggerty. We're on every Saturday morning at 10:30 a.m. right here on our social media platforms. For Smokin' Jim Frazier, I'm Ralph Williams. Everyone have a great night, and thank you for watching.